So let's begin with the eye, and I've gone back to some pure cadmium yellow deep, and I'm going to use that around the lower half of the eye there. Now the colour I had on the iris of the eye is actually this background colour here, and that's still going to work reasonably well for the upper part of the eye, but to be honest, most of it's going to be obscured by the work I just did. While I've got that colour on the brush, I've just added some titanium white to that same mixture, and I'm using that to just fill in the beak. And we're going to add highlights to both of these in just a second. A fair dollop of titanium white on the brush now, in addition to the colour I already had. And that's allowed me to put in some soft highlights on the beak there. So we'll come back to that in just a moment. But I just want to pop a little bit of extra yellow on the brush. Just want to put a little bit of extra detail around the eye there. Back now to our very dark colour. So this is the mix of the burnt umber and the blue. So it's a useful colour for shadows, and also it's going to help us refine the pupil in the eye in just a second. Now that line went on a little heavier than I wanted, but it's probably going to be okay, I think. It'll help the head stand out against the background. So I need to make sure that the whole head is visible really. But we'll come back to that in a second. So let's put in the pupil of the eye again. And that didn't work too well, so I need to just correct that, so I'll just sort that out. Alright, so that's a little bit better. I need a smaller brush really, but we'll make do with what I've got here. So I'm just adding a combo of white and the cad yellow deep to the top part of the iris there. And then we need to add a little bit of a highlight on the actual pupil itself. To create the highlight colour, I've just added some white to one of the deep purples that I had mixed up from earlier, because the highlight in the eye, it's not white in this case, it's just a reflection of the sky, sort of pale blue in the eye of the pheasant. So we've got a little bit more life in the eye now. But within that highlight are a few brighter areas. So a little bit more white, and I'm just going to add, so it's still not white, it's still a pale blue, but I'm just going to add a little touch there to pick out the brightest part of the eye. And back to a very, very, very pale yellow now to put some highlights on the beak. Sorry, what am I talking about? It's actually a palish blue, very pale blue, I should have said. And in fact now I've decided to come in with pure white. So that's not too bad. And we'll continue with that, just adding a few little touches around the neck here. And a couple more on the back. And carrying on with those highlights, we'll pop a few little flecks of very pale green on the neck, along with a couple of flecks of bright blue as well. And we'll keep going with that actually on the top of the head there. And now I've got this problem where the outline of the beak, it's not all that well defined, but I don't want to overwork the background. So I think what I'm going to do is use this colour. I don't normally do this, but I'm going to use this colour to just refine, or define I should say, the outline of the beak a little bit, just to help it stand out from the background. And you know, I've got some of my loose early line work still showing, and I don't mind that. That's okay. We'll soften that bit there as well. So the head I'm reasonably happy with now, but I just need to add a little bit more work to the neck. A few bursts of darker green here, just to break up that band of white that I had. Back to the body, and a few bright highlights. So a little bit of the cad yellow deep and a little bit of white. A couple of flecks of bright orange. We'll even pop a couple down here. Pure phthalo blue next, so I'm going to use that to just pop in some of the very dark patterning you get. So, you know, I'm not overdoing it here, I'm just suggesting it really by putting in a few marks here and there. We don't want to, if you go too far, then you have to commit to depicting the entire pattern, and that's not the style I'm working with at the moment. So just a few touches here and there really, wherever we feel is appropriate to make things work. And then I think we're almost there. What I want to do is just adjust the tail a little bit and bring that to life a bit more. So what I'm about to try is a little bit of dry brush technique, and I'm just going to drag a pale orangey yellow, well, it's a pale browny orange really, over the top of the tail. And that's worked reasonably well. I might just add a little touch of that, just a tiny touch onto the underside of the belly here. And I think we still need a bit more light on top of the tail there. So this isn't quite, how a pheasant's tail is, what I'm about to do, but I think it might work for the painting, which is always more important for me. So I'm just putting a pale blue highlight along there. And I'm not sure about that actually, so I think it works reasonably well, but I might just add a little bit of magenta to that section too. So, same brush Oh, I like that much more. That's... So I think we're pretty much done for this painting. Let me give you a better look. So there's the finished painting. Nice brightly coloured pheasant against a colourful countryside background. Really good fun to dig in one of the folders, pull out a work in progress that I'd more or less forgotten about, to be honest, from a couple of years ago, and finish the painting. So I'll put a link to the finished painting in the description below, so if you want to get a better look at the brushwork, you can follow that link, click on the image, and then you can zoom in on different parts of the painting. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you next Sunday for the next episode of the Sunday Art Show. Thanks very much for watching.